being the breadwinner and losing the income, it affected everyone, all of us, like my family here and my family back home. I didn't know how to bake at all. So like all of my baking, I had to learn from YouTube, and few people around me were like, Davey, when I show you 1, 2, 3. That was the biggest challenge. My son was born on the 22nd of February. Then 3 weeks later, I was retrenched. The restaurant closed. I was retrenched. So my son was 3 weeks old when I was retrenched. Honestly speaking, no one wants to go through that situation. Like, it wasn't easy. It was terrible for me. Like, it was hard. I had nothing to do because it was a pandemic. We were in level 5 lockdown and I had nothing to do, and I had to accept it. You know, when I was retrenched, the only thing which came into my mind, it wasn't rent, it wasn't anything else. It was my son. Like food, the diapers. That was the first thing which came into my mind. Like, okay, where am I going to get it? How am I going to survive without income coming? You know, like, it wasn't easy because, you know, being the breadwinner and losing the income, it affected everyone, all of us. Like my family here and my family back home, they depend on me, and there was nothing they were getting from me because I had nothing to provide. So it was, something terrible for me. This is my icing. It's ready. We're going to ice this chocolate cake. This is my chocolate ganache. This is my icing. These are my stuff. So I have to... During first lockdown, it was level 5. We were stuck at home. It was just me, the little baby, and my wife. So I had access to internet. So when we were watching movies and TV was boring, we started checking new channels on DSTV. Then we discovered Cake Boss. So we just fell in love with Cake Boss. But we were like curious, like, is these cakes real? So we went to YouTube, we checked, actually found it's a real cake, since we had access to Wi-Fi. So from that time, I just developed the love of baking. When I came to South Africa, that was 2013 December. Then 2014, I was working for events company, but it was just a part-time thing between 2014 and 2017. 2017, I joined the restaurant. That's when I used to do the dishes. Between 2017 and 2020, beginning of COVID, that's when I was retrenched. Like, honestly speaking, doing dishes, you know, like, no one loves to do the dishes, but, you know, because of my situation, I had to work for my family here, as well as my family back home. So I had no choice, but I had to do everything I had to do. So I started baking muffins and scones. Yes, muffins and scones. From that time, I started posting on my Instagram stories. Like on my WhatsApp status, like, guys, I'm selling muffins. But then I used to sell like 40 rand a packet, 30 rand, depends. So people started ordering those muffins and scones. And by then I was also babysitting the little one, because my wife had gone back to work. So during the day I would babysit the Travis. Then when my wife comes back from work, that's when I start baking. It was not a big business by then, because sometimes I would make maybe 60 rand or 100 rand a day. So one of my friends was like, Dave, you know what? I can see you are trying something. I want to support you. I can see you are baking muffins and scones, but I don't want muffins and scones. Her name is Charlotte. So she said, Davey, please bake me a cake. I'm challenging you. And I was like, no, Charlotte, I've never baked a cake. She was like, yes, I know you have never baked a cake, but I'm challenging you. Please just bake me a cake. I want a cake from you. I want to support you, but I don't want muffins and scones you are selling. I was okay, cool. I went back to YouTube. That's when I checked the recipe for chocolate cake. I tried. No, it wasn't a good cake. The sponge was fine, but the icing was not good at all. So she was like, you know what, Davey, I'm not expecting a perfect cake. I know you're still learning. So I baked a cake. No, I just, it wasn't a good cake. So after I finished the cake, then she was like, Davey, you know what, write on top Charlie, because we call it Charlie. on top. But to my surprise, I was surprised, like, why Charlotte is ordering a cake. Okay, she came and collected a cake. And she was like, you know what? She paid me 500 bucks. I was like, wow, 500 rand. I was getting 100 rand, 80 rand a day. And this one cake, 500 rand. Like, okay, Dave. She took the cake. She went to a place. She posted that cake on her Instagram with a cup of tea, a nice slice of cake and a cup of tea. She was like, guys, support Davey. He lost his job. He's got a newly born baby. And he's learning how to bake. Please support him with anything. So from that time, she tagged me on her Instagram and posted my number. Everything just changed. In fact, from that Instagram tag, from Charlie's Cake, people were like, Davey, what do you have? What do you want to learn? So most of my customers, by then, even up to now, they would come, like, okay, Davey, you want a chocolate cake? They would come and collect a chocolate cake. They'll pay for the cake. Then maybe they will bring 10 kgs of ice and sugar, 5 kgs of flour. No, I started getting support from different people all over the world because everyone was like, these are kind of stories. Do you have like food, even food for ourselves? We started getting food from ourselves, for ourselves, and baby clothes, baby food, and even money, cash. I remember there's this lady, she's in America. She's an American. She asked me, David, do you have money for rent? So everything just changed. Even myself, I started having peace of mind. Because when I was trained, I was so stressful. But when I started baking, everything just changed. People started ordering. Financially, I was a bit fine and peace of mind. So I started gaining a lot. Because, I was small. I was very, very small. I started gaining a lot. Like, this is not Davey, like, 4 years ago. No, it's a totally different. Because now I had peace of mind. So, yeah, everything was like fine. Like, I was enjoying what I was doing every day, getting orders. From that time, Cakey by Davey was born. And up to now, I can safely say retrenchment was a blessing to me. So, baking requires lots of resources. Like, besides flour, sugar and stuff, the machines. I remember when I started baking, I used to mix with hand, and this, I didn't have a mixer. I used to use this for mixing. This one is for pulp, but I used to do the mixing and this and that. Where my former manager, Marcel, is the one who gave me my first mixer. I was like, Dave, you know what? I have to support you. I got a mixer for you. Most of my cakes I bake are birthday cakes. Yes. Of course, I do, if it's not a tricky one, like wedding cakes. Remember, I did a wedding cake for former Kaiser Chiefs physical trainer. Of course, I did a few wedding cakes, not those fancy wedding cakes, but simple wedding cakes I can do. Yes. Since I'm still learning, yes. When I started, I remember when I started, like what I said, I used to sell muffins and scones, which I used to get maybe 60 rand a day to where I am right now. Like, for example, this cake is 550. If I make 5, you can count. So, yes. So everything just start from somewhere. Don't be shy. Like, okay, I know if I sell muffins and scones, I know people will be like, this guy is going through a lot. That's the beginning. You want to remain on those muffins and scones. Those muffins and scones will take you somewhere. Like for me, I used to do muffins and scones to where I am right now. The challenges were like I didn't know how to bake at all. So like all of my baking I had to learn from YouTube, and few people around me were like, Dave, wanna show you 1, 2, 3. That was the biggest challenge. By then it was fine because during lockdown load shedding wasn't that bad. But now the biggest challenge is load shedding. That's the biggest challenge, because now I'm forced to work according to schedule. I can't just wake up and say, okay, now I want to do I've got an order, I have to do a cake, I have to check the load shedding schedule first before I do anything. So sometimes, like, especially at the load stage 6, on a Friday, whilst you are busy with the weekend orders, 4 hours whilst you are doing nothing, it's a big blow for us. Big blow for business, because sometimes I'm forced to reduce number of orders, because I take maximum of 6 cakes per day. So if there's load shedding, I'm forced to take 3, because I cannot finish all the cakes in the space of 12 hours, because the other 12 hours will be without electricity. That's the biggest challenge I'm facing right now. Yeah, the most important thing I always tell people is, let's use social media. Let's take the advantage of social media. Social media is there to help us. I am where I am because of social media. Social media, I respect social media, and at the same time, social media respected me to an extent that it changed my life. Bullying and stuff like that on social media, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make you prosper or something. But to me, I'm here because of social media. Instagram take, everything just changed, and people loved my story, and to remain positive.